where is all of this surfing, swimming, fire swinging Zelda stuff happening in the timeline? We have a theory that this game takes place after Skyward Sword and is linked to Majora. We saw that Ganon is still involved.
Yeah.
That has been confirmed, and the game takes place 100 years after Link falls asleep in the Resurrection Chamber.
Yeah.
I still think that it's a Skyward Sword sequel. I may be pulling back on my Majora stuff. There's like no hints of Majora anywhere in here. Any sort of like magic of him, any sort of victim.
I kind of feel it's that post-apocalyptic Zelda almost, where...
Do you think it takes place like way after like Wind Waker,
I do.
Twilight Princess, all of that? Like,
I kind of think that it's a shooting way in the future after everything's kind of been destroyed and it's like basically ruins everywhere, but it's become kind of wild and overgrown, and there's still some of that ancient technology hidden around and some of those elements of the past. But you will uncover those as you go along.
Temple of Time was like destroyed. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like,
so I feel like there was some sort of huge devastation. Link was put into a sleep, or he died and was resurrected. And now it's like you'll find some of those crazy like tech things with your Sheikah Stone and stuff that makes it like freaking Matrixy everywhere. And it's like, I don't know what, that just seems like some advanced tech. So like it feels like it's some sort of future mixed with past, sort of. Like perfect Zelda thing, a future linked with the past.
Yeah, I don't know. There's hints of technology in Skyward Sword that seem to be carried over. That very blue aesthetic, that kind of technology stuff.
Yeah.
Which makes me think it may be Skyward Sword still. But yeah, it just
the thing is that what's interesting about, I mean, you could never really fully put, I think, a finger on it, because I would say that most likely it's all a cycle, the whole Zelda thing. I mean, even since it's always repeating, like every game, like essentially there's like a huge similarity thing going on where it seems to be repeating in some sort of circular effect, where even in Skyward Sword, I haven't played it, but I would assume maybe there's even some more previous history where things could have been cycled through.
Yeah, they hint at like... Because like the start of the game is like, let's give thanks to the gods, you know, and like, or the goddesses, like the goddess Hylia or Helia or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like there's still even then kind of like before there was even Skyloft, like what got Skyloft in the sky, there were the gods and stuff, like, and like the whole making of the Triforce and stuff. So I mean there's even though Skyward Sword is like the genesis of, I think it's more so the genesis of the Link and Zelda story. It's not necessarily the genesis of Hyrule, but I mean I don't know. I think. Because, people were saying basically that it's confirmed Wind Waker sequel or something, like, after all of that.
Yeah.
The thing is that I believe Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass is about sailing away from Wind Waker, and then Spirit Tracks is all about laying down the tracks of a new Hyrule. And so... But if you have the new Hyrule, then you wouldn't have the Temple of Time... And you wouldn't have the Koroks and stuff from the Great Deku Tree in the new Hyrule, unless this is back to the old Hyrule, which then all the water's gone back down.
Yeah.
But then I mean, I don't know. That would just, that you could, like what you said, it could be just so far down the line that every timeline's obsolete. Because I could see that, like the timeline splitting off into 3, and then going this way, this way, this way. But then no matter what, it ends up back at Breath of the Wild. Like all timelines reconverge at the Breath of the Wild. And it's just
I think that'd be convenient for them to, and like one of the things they would want to do to kind of separate themselves. And I don't know. I think that looking into overarching Zelda thing, like there's definitely sequels and stuff, but I think that it might be a little, and they've made an official timeline, I know, and all that, but I think it's a little reaching a bit and looking a little too far into like. What they're doing is, it's almost like trying, I feel, it's way more narratively driven, and it has the recurring characters and stuff, but it's a bit like trying to make a timeline to the Mario games, and where did this Mario game take place to this? It's like, certainly they have some of that in mind, but I think for the most part they go in with like, we're going to create an amazing Zelda experience that has, and like, I'm sure there's some tie-ins to some of the old, but I think for the most part it's like they try to disconnect it a bit, or how can we make it so that this is, I think for the most part, most often they don't try to think of this as a sequel to this game, or this is a next after this one. This is just a Zelda game, and then later they think like, maybe where can this fit? And I think for the most part, most often they try to just go with, this is separate from, this is pretty far into this like timeline away from that, or this is like way before that, or so.
I think my theory in the
usually they only do like a direct sequel very soon after a Zelda. I feel like where they do an actual like spiritual successor or like a real thing like that. Link Between Worlds was like huge exception to that, I feel.
But even then, it was very clear this is going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
I still think that it's a Skyward Sword sequel. I'm sticking by that. I think we'll see like confirmation of that in the game, that like this is like through either art style or through like story or like a reference. I think there's gonna be like a direct reference to the Skyloft, or like the story of Skyward Sword, of the main villain of that game and stuff, like who you saw in Skyward Sword, and I think it'll lead into Ocarina of Time. I think that'll be the things that freak people out. Is like the game will end and it'll be like, whatever Ganon says, his parting breath, will be very much so like, all right, like here's Ocarina of Time, like we're leading into it, and because that'll be such like a perfect tie-in stuff where it's like taking Skyward Sword, bridging it to the timeline. We know that would be so just fantastic. Yeah. The only thing is, we see those Koroks, which are definitely Wind Waker, although I think that's just more so art style than anything. And the other thing that makes me think that's not a Skyward Sword sequel, like that, like brings me any doubt to my mind, is just that the Master Sword is rusty. It is beat up. There's flowers growing on it. Like it's been put away for a long time, and that's crazy imagery. Like that's just that's some payoff that can't happen in a Zelda game unless there's been 30 years of history with the game. Only Nintendo fans that have been Nintendo fans for this many years can see that imagery of the Master Sword all grassy and worn down, and just be like, dang, this is just some stuff that Nintendo is just. People always complain about Nintendo doing the same IPs again and again and again and stuff, and this is payoff moments where it's just yes. I remember Brian Altano tweeting about it, this
What's so amazing about it too is that they seem. I think we had a discussion in Koppai a long time ago where we talked about, are they just because some of these franchises like Fallout coming out and Horizon, these new games, new developers, younger people, they actually did say that this game was developed by a younger team, or a lot of younger people on it, where it's will they feel as inspired with this game? Are they just making a Zelda because it's Nintendo has to make another Zelda? And it feels like for this game it's and we'll get into it later with Color Splash and some of the decisions they've made with some of their games recently, with Tennis and Amiibo Festival and some of the things that they come out. Even Star Fox arguably is so just that when you get to the end, the credits, everything feels kind of plasticky almost to a degree, and I feel not with this game. This game feels very fluid and organic, and they're passionate about it, and that a lot of love and care has gone into it, which is a side of Nintendo that we don't see a lot of very recently. We saw it just a couple years ago, and then with the whole unfortunate Iwata going, it seems like they've been, what do? We got to make sure all our games stay on track, but it's maybe been to some detriment. And I feel like this game really came out with a confidence. And,
I think they even said flat out we're not gonna let anything hold this game back, and if that means delaying it, we'll delay it. We'll tear the game down and redo it before we release a bad Zelda. And that's why we delayed it. That's why we did this. That's why we are pouring it to the NX, because we always want this to be the best it can be, and that can only happen there. And so. The box art was revealed. I don't believe that's the real box art. I think it's a placeholder box art. Maybe Nintendo released it as a PR image. I don't think that's it.
It's a missed opportunity if it really is, because
the rock climbing should have been the title, or the opening scene of him standing over the cliff should have been the box art, or something like that. That better not be the box art. And I'm saying it now. It's not. It can't be. everyone tweeting. I didn't retweet any of those tweets for Koppai, or like I didn't dig into the sources. I'm like, nope, not even gonna bother that because that's not the box art. Like Nintendo, everything tweeting out like this is the new box art. I'm like, no, it's not. No way. We're gonna get that like in a Nintendo Direct in November, or like January, something like. Okay,
yeah, it's still pretty early for it, I'd say.
Yeah, it's like, that's a placeholder for Amazon or whatever. Like here's The Legend of Zelda.
So it's not that crappy. They've had forever just a black box where it has
like Navis flying around or something.
Yeah,
like sparkles or whatever. Yeah. Some other real quick things before we move on from Zelda. The Zelda items are now in Miitomo. You can go get like really cool outfits. Some are free, some are Miitomo drop, and then there's a Hylian shield that you can buy for 2,900 gold. I really want to buy that, but I keep using all my coins instead for Miitomo drop. I've gotten several of the Zelda outfits, almost all of the shirts, but they're also all available in different colors, and so I'm trying to get all the colors right now. Really, really cool. Just Google or YouTube Miitomo drop guides. You can figure out how to get those. It's super easy with this Zelda one because it's very zigzag and very formal. There's not a lot of stuff bouncing around and moving that you need to be paying attention to. You can just really kind of pay attention. A lot of the guides online are like, say, drop it when the platform's in the middle of the third zigzag, and it's just very straightforward. And also, the VP of the sales for Nintendo says that Zelda will be an immediate reason fans will buy the Nintendo NX. We can't wait. We're definitely going to be picking it up as well. Let us know down in the comments if you're going to be picking up an NX or if you're going to get it on Wii U or both. Moving on.